Du-du-du-du-du-du-du. I'm really curious if there's a way I could put up a comment. I'll figure that out at some point here. Let's try this. Oh, it doesn't give me anything really good to work with there. But you know what? It's Thursday. You know what that means. It's Tarot Thursday. On this show, we absolutely will draw every single card request that we get. And so draw on your name, give me permission, say that I can read you, and then buckle on in, hang around for a little bit, and we'll get you your card at some point during the show. I'm going to be starting with Maxwell today, and then the recording is going to be thrown up on YouTube for Maxwell to catch later on. Maxwell, let's start with you. Maxwell, card for Maxwell, coming up with the Eight of Earth. I like the Eight of Earth in this one in that it's got this very, very kind of reserved, careful approach being demonstrated in the way that the woman's postured with the magic orb close to her chest, the staff on the other hand being pulled in as well too, and just sort of making sort of the shielding-like effect in front. It gives a sense of being very cautious, specific, and careful with one's personal choices as they're moving forward for the next little bit. The grid side of this is usually someone has the control over the situation. They have the ability to decide how quickly or how aggressively or how much they're going to move themselves forward. And so the power is in your hands, Maxwell, and that's phenomenal. If you've got the power, that means you've got the choice. You can decide how the outcome's going to be. You do have to respect that power that's in hand, though. If you're using it all willy-nilly and causing all kinds of madness with it, it's never going to play off well for you in the long term. So this card is a balance of self-assessment and evaluation, getting that good hint and indication of where you feel you best belong, while working with your energy and its magnificence as you move forward. Personal choices, carefully selected, decided on not because there's something immediate that's going to happen from it, but that it allows you to maintain the long-term process that you've enjoyed up to this point. And so really, really good energy, Maxwell, if you're looking to make some small shifts carefully, but this isn't enormous shifts rapidly. It's about slow, careful, methodic activities that allow you to keep yourself moving ahead, above the game and ahead of your struggles. My gut instinct on it, and I imagine we'll get more into this when we book for that reading next week, but my gut instinct on it, Maxwell, is this is one of those cases where, yes, you do need to apply changes and a difference in what you're doing, but those changes are going to have to come cautiously and done in such a way that you know that they're working for your best benefit and not to somebody else's benefit. So good luck with that one, Maxwell. If anybody else would like a card, feel free to say your name or give me permission somewhere in the chat box there, and I'll draw you up next. Maxwell, he and I are having a conversation, and so this is just helping him out, making sure that he gets something today and not just nothing. If you yourself would like a card drawn, just give me permission down in the comments, and we'll get you drawn on in. Maxwell, we'll chat with you next week. Or this week, I guess. Irini is asking a question. Hi, Irini. Text Alexander, does he have a crush on me? See, I like specific questions like this. They're really, really easy to kind of dig right in on it. Once you've thrown in your question, hang tight. I will answer every request that I get. Every request that comes in, I will answer. Irini, the key element for this one for me is the snake on her hand. Snakes can be a combination of symbols. They can be poisonous snakes, they can be silver tongue snakes, they can be healing snakes. So there's a lot of different applications that's important to keep in mind here. However, I do note that it seems that all the energies and all the animals are in protection of the feminine, trying to make sure that she is secure and safe in the offering being put in front of her. So I would say, does he have a crush? I'm not sure. There's definitely something there that might be tempting, but he's not sure how to approach something that has that much power or that much difference from what he is used to. There's no reach to the cup yet. There's no sharing of that energy. However, why wouldn't you text him? Engage with him. See what's up. Talk about life. Don't go into it with an intention for an outcome, but go into it knowing that you're protected regardless of the outcome. So you can use this as an opportunity to explore your connection with this individual and see what is there and maybe understand what pieces of that individual are attracting you so. That way you come away stronger and wiser for the experience and you don't ever have those regrets of, well, what if I had said a message? What if I had done something? Regrets can be really, really dangerous, but a fire energy has no regrets. It just burns through the moment and consumes what is going on there without really looking back. So I would say engage directly, Irene, and let yourself see what comes out of it. Kim, does Warwick want me back? Let's find out here for Kim. Thanks so much for the request. Let's see what we got for Kim. I have 6 new messages down below. Thank you so much for your requests today. All requests will be honored. Stick around if you can. If you can't, I'll put it up on YouTube on Olympic Magic House after the show. Kim wants to know, does Warwick want me back? Now, this particular here is a feminine court card for the earth energy. And the key element to me is the loyalty element of the Sandshell. Making sure that one has that concrete, secure, safe place that they know that they can return to and reside within and work with. Does he want you back? I would say probably. But what he's looking for is the security and the safety and that loyalty. And so that doesn't necessarily mean that he's looking for a specific element of what you have to offer. It means that he's looking for the environment of what you offer. You'll have to stop and really consider, do you feel like you are the right balance of your own experiences and your own growth and your own development? Or is this just sort of a woodcutter coming to the forest to take whatever logs he can and get away with it? You should be very careful with what you're allowing access to. And even though he might want you back, does he want you back for the right intentions and for the right energy and for the right flow? Or is he just trying to get back for that familiarity? Be careful with that one. Bad anxieties make sense. Bad anxieties make sense, but there's always a reason why anxieties exist. Some of us are absolutely biologically conditioned to have a certain flow with it. And in that case, it's completely medical and deal with your doctor directly on it. But most anxiety is also a response to trauma. And so if they're just seeing you as a safe place where they can run from their anxieties and not work through the anxieties, yeah, he's got to work through it. He can't just run away. He has to work through it. Some relationships are naturally furnace fire. They change and refine us and make us move into new ways and new flows. And so, Kim, I'd be really careful just letting him back in for general access. You made it, Frankie. Hello, hello. I'm going to get you up next. And Puneet, I will absolutely get you in here as well, Puneet, after I draw a card for Frankie. Yeah, it's your turn. Kim, good luck. Remember your boundaries. Remember what you offer is increased, better. Loyalty is a wonderful thing in this modern age, but don't let him just take advantage of it for you. Make sure you are deciding who gets your energy and when. Frankie, what's going on in that corner? Yes, that way, yes, thank you. You're funny. I don't do jumpers, though. You're funny, though. Frankie. All kinds of color around you, but no color in you. The Five of Cups is sort of a weird one, because in a lot of cases with Rider-Waite, what we're seeing is a symbol of something that is something spilled over, lost and gone and forgotten and inaccessible, and we're mourning over it. We're in grief because we've lost this element or we've lost this component that we held as being the foundation piece or cornerstone towards our end goal. And so when that heavy supporting piece suddenly becomes unavailable or removed or just yanked out, we ourselves go through a bit of a weird change. The world around us can still be very bright and colorful, but we ourselves feel just blue. And stuck into that blueness, blue da-ba-dee, stuck into that blueness, you get locked away from the potential of change. It becomes everything blue. The water's all blue, I'm all blue, the fish will all be blue too. And that's when it's going too far into the permeation of grief. When we get there, pulling back is almost impossible because we're lost in loss. However, if there's a single rope, if there's a single silver lining to anything around you, that becomes the life preserver, as it were, that pulls you out carefully and safely. Just because the girl's blue does not mean the goldfish, bringing values, standards, and hope and joy, are completely inaccessible. It's simply a matter of being able to look up and see the fish that are right there, willing to help and willing to support. Typically, gold standard support are those kind of assists that they can definitely provide all the needs, but there's a change in ourselves that has to happen to meet that level. The change itself is probably deeper, but for the immediate now, making sure that you're not making decisions based around the pain, but instead making decisions based around the golden opportunities. That way you're focusing yourself away from the vacuum that has ultimately got you snagged and expanding yourself into the larger picture where possible. Could be like swimming back home to the school fish that you know, or fish school that you know. Being with shared company that knows you for you and not for what they're seeing on the surface. All of us tend to have a various number of masks that we display to the world. And with some company, you have to be able to be free of these masks. That's why the goldfish are so special. They're the gold standard, and they need you to be your golden standard as well too. Stepping up to their level and stepping up to their form. Yeah, sounds potential. Honestly, I like the way that Bestie's phrasing it. It's getting back to the golden you as well too. It's getting back to the state where you're no longer like the eyes on this girl, closed even, not even looking down at her hands, just closed and sort of held back in. You are not a held in energy. You are firecracker, explode. And yes, explosions can be destructive, but sometimes you need to shift things with that level of explosion. So, get yourself out there. Get yourself moving back towards the color, the light, the joy, and the possibility. That's where the better things are resting for you. Puneet, I've got you up next. If anyone wants to throw in a card request, you're more than welcome to it. And all card requests are honored. All card requests are honored on this show. Puneet had a question. Izzy, I just need permission. If you say I've got permission, then I will absolutely draw you a card. Puneet, about career. Coming up with the Four of Wands for you. I like their flow on this one. Just goes away from being territory and turf and goes into being on target, on focus. So it's a neat energy, but it resides a lot in your own strength and your own ability to pull. Do me please, star, I will do that. And B star, I'll get you as well. And Izzy, you are top of the list right now. I'm trying to think how to work about this the best way for you, Puneet, because the focus here is twofold. On one, the person is watching very carefully their target and their goal, and they're making sure that they are right on mark. They have to be clear and precise and sure of what they want to be. Being a CEO is a vague goal. Being a CEO of a medical company is not a vague goal. And sometimes that's the distinction here. If you know that you like being in sales, well, sales is so broad. Retail sales, selling people houses, is a far cry from selling people payment solutions. And so you got to get right down to the particulars, very specific particulars of your career goals, 3 to 5 year plan specifically. Then you have to decide, do you have the strength to pull as much as you need to on the bow to fire? A bow's function is all elastic, but to make that elastic work, there has to be draw strength occurring. And some of those big bows, those old ones, were like 150, 200 pounds worth of force to draw. It was a workout. And so you're building the muscles, and you've got great skills to expand those muscles. You have the talent. You have the ability. Otherwise, you wouldn't have even picked up this bow. But if you don't know what you're shooting for, and if you're not laying your eyes right on the right target, then how are you ever going to make it happen through? So if these two things are met, then everything answers itself. You know for a very clear, concise plan, this is what you're going to. And because you've got a clear, concise plan, you know exactly how hard you need to pull at each moment. And then you just got to follow through on it. And the follow through comes from you. There's nothing that will open for you automatically. It has to be you driving your energy and pushing the force and aiming the shot to full form. If you can do that, if you can pull yourself and basically throw yourself fully into your goal here, you will accomplish whatever it is that you set out. But it will be what you set out to do and not what somebody gives you. It'll be what you decide and shoot for. It won't be random chance. Good luck, Puneet. Izzy, I've got you up next. What do we got for Izzy? I've got 2 names on the list. If you want to get on, now's the time, because once it gets full, it gets fast. Izzy, you're coming up with the Integrity card. This is one of the major arcanas in this deck, centering around strength of form, strength of identity, confidence in one own self. This one can be a little bit complex in that it's very similar to the Strength card in the Woman's Fearlessness with Lion, and I think it hits right on the strength of character note that the Strength card is trying to represent. Maintaining your core self, maintaining who you are in everything that you do. If you were here earlier for the chats about masks, sometimes we use masks based upon the crowd. I do sales, and so absolutely I adjust my tone and flavor to who I am selling to in that moment. However, underneath all of it, there is some original source that bleeds into these masks. For me, that original source is compassion. I really do want better for the world as much as possible. Kindness is a fault, though, and I'll get into that another day on another show. You have to find what it is that makes you firm at the very core. Where is your integrity? Is it in a matter of morals and principles? Is it in a matter of art and expression and freedom of expression? Is it in personal values and dreams? Once you know what it is that is at the core of who your soul is, that's when you can start to live your natural divine life and just exude it in everything that you do. And on the dark side of it, you might not necessarily gain success because the world's not designed around having integrity, but you do gain a personal comfort and a personal satisfaction that no amount of money can usually buy. Money can buy the illusion of it, but when it comes from you, when it's you just being your genuine self, there's no need to play for any crowd, there's no need to be anyone but yourself, and that becomes the truest strength of form. So, integrity of the self. Wherever you are punishing yourself, blaming yourself, or attacking yourself, knock it off. Don't blame yourself, don't attack yourself, period. Anywhere that you're saying that you should have done this, that, or something otherwise, and lean in on that. Find out why you feel you should have been a better form of yourself. Don't tear down your form, improve it. Good luck, Izzy. Ambi star, taken day by day. Let's see what we've got for Ambi. Ambi coming up with also a major arcana card here. We've got the Journey card coming up this time around. Journey card, it's a neat concept because you've got on the bottom the idea of traversing over great paths and coming through great journeys and changing who you are as you're going through the course of it. On the top, I find it there's way too much duality in the form of the person. And so part of it could be ushered and framed around the idea of coming as you were, changing and becoming something else as you go, being sort of stuck sometimes, not sure which way you should change yourself and evolve yourself. If sort of stuck in that nature and stuck in that weird place, the key thing to ask is, what was your guiding light when you started? I talk about the Star card in the Major Arcana being very much about navigation at night overseas. You have no landmarks on the sea, you only have the stars in the sky. So you have to use those stars very specifically to map how you're moving towards your goals and your objectives. In the same way, you have to feel your changes happening through yourself as you're going through your own progression and recognize what is it that's guiding you and pulling you and dragging you along. Are they actually the markers that you want to meet? This person standing with what appears to be a signpost behind them. Is it a signpost telling them that they are on course or off course? They only know if they know who they want to become. Similar to what we were seeing with the Integrity card, that this is usually the process that we see we have to do to reach that integrity that we were talking about previously. I don't expect a lot of stability with this card when it comes up. Usually things are in major flux and major change and major movement. As long as you're allowing that movement to occur, though, you are progressing. And that's the healthiest form of all. Simple progress is still good progress. Even if it's only 3 steps forward, it's still 3 steps forward. If you get pushed back 5 steps, you could argue that it was a bad thing, but if those 5 steps allow you to take a different 3 steps forward, that's not a bad thing. It's progress. It's progress. Let yourself find satisfaction from simply making progress. You'll be okay, Ambi. Don't stress, don't panic, don't flight, don't fear, don't flail, don't do any of those panic, destructive things. Just trust that you are making progress, day by day, movement by movement, moment by moment. Star, I'm going to get you next. I've got 9 new requests. I see Alvina, I think you're requesting. Jan also requesting. I'll get you in there. T. Ashley, good to see you back. Welcome back around. We'll get you in. If you've thrown in If you've thrown in a request, I will absolutely honor your request, so stick around and we'll get to you shortly. Thank you very much for the gifts, Frankie. Much appreciated. And you're okay. Work is work. I know I'm just here ranting, and that's why this will all be on YouTube later on. So if you can't stick around for the whole show, you can always catch it on YouTube. Star, do me please. What do we got for Star? What do we got for Star? Star dealing with a little bit of intensity. We got the Two of Wands coming up here. Now, I still have yet to decide if these people are opponents or friends, and a lot of that is from the nature of the faces. The body language says that there's at least an openness of an exchange, something happening between two people that's bringing energy back and forth. But is the energy amplifying heat that's already too much, or is it sustaining heat that needs to be sustained? We have to look at how people are influencing us as a person. Sometimes when we're working with somebody that's a pushy, high standards, or a little bit exacting, it can drag us up to a higher level and a better level. But if they're just breaking us down by doing what they're doing, that's not comfortable for us, and that's not right for them to do either. And so look at the intensity of the connections you're working with. Are they improving you? Are they giving you light? Are they giving you warmth? Or are they draining you? Love my fire signs, but at the end of the day, fire needs fuel. And if fuel is people, that's tough for us. It's really, really tough. And so, especially when you're dealing with a fire-type personality dynamic, you have to remember they always want more energy added into that dynamic. They always want more flow laid on top so that they can feel that they are building from your nature and your energy. If the relationship's not working for you, you just got to distance yourself and break away. But remember, breaking away from fire, you then have to deal with the afterburn. If you cannot survive it though, it's a little bit of burn or turn to ashes. Measure how the connection's working for you. Is the intensity really what you're looking for? Is this the lifestyle that you want to continue living? And if yes, keep doing what you're doing. If no, this is the warning sign that maybe this is starting to become an overwhelming moment and it's time to back away a little bit. Good luck on that one, Star. I've got an undertone that someone really, really likes your energy. Be careful with that. People are more than welcome to come and share moments with you, but they're not to possess you. Nobody should be possessing you ever. So Jan, Elvia, T. Ashley, I've got you three lined up. If anyone else wants to throw in a request, now is definitely the time. All requests will be honored and a recording will be put on YouTube after. Let's go for a flow. Jan wants to know about the future with the relationship. It's not a bad energy, not a bad flow. Queen of Air is one of my favorite queens, simply because she is so direct and to the point and absolute, and a bit of a what's the matter with you and why are you being in this situation or in this flow or in this negativity. They are great at giving new direction, new course, and new path, but the plan has to come from them. And that's where I find they get into the biggest conflict in relationships. Meaning no offense to the males of the species, but we're bullheaded, dumb, and don't listen very well. And so when a person's giving us good advice, good counsel, the wisdom of the owl, we tend to ignore it. And we'll ignore it immediately if it's coming from our partner, because if we didn't want to hear it from them, we automatically neglect it. I don't know why we do that. It's just something that happens. And so you're probably giving great advice. You're probably giving good direction. You're probably giving a really good idea of what needs to be done, Jan. They're just not receiving it because it's coming from you. If you can find other ways to deliver the message in a way that they won't see it as an attack from you, that would be your first best move. But if you don't take control in some way, then at some point here, it's going to override your sense of autonomy in yourself. It's going to take over who you are. So how do you want this future to go? Write out the plan. Talk to them. Hey, this is what I was thinking my future would look like with you. Do you do this ever? Could we do it together maybe? Make a 5-year plan together. Plan out what our future is going to be. And then you get this shaped out idea of what you're going to be living for. And that way you can actually expand it, grow it, make it what you both want and not just what one person wants. It needs to be mutual plan through and through. You've got the right advice. You've got the right direction. Now make them feel invited into that plan and into that moment and into that contribution. And things will start to improve and work for both of you much better as a result of that. Good luck, Jan. Alvia will get you next, then T. Ashley. If there's any new requests down below, I'll check them out in just a minute here. Alvia. Coming up with the King of Fire, going a slightly different direction here. This one is the most combative of the King cards in my perspective, the one that's most likely to get up in somebody's face and tell them what or for. The truth is they will not accept any kind of compromise or stealing of their energy and of their authority. They want to be the one in control. They want to be the one in charge. Now, if it's you, Alvia, then it's about finding your radiance and allowing your radiance to go through appropriately and not letting others compromise your control over your own autonomy. You are the boss. You are the king. You are the big fire. If it's the other person in your life, then how do you endure such energy and how do you endure such form? In both cases, that's somewhat of a true fact because the harder you burn, the brighter you glow, and the more fuel that you require. This has to be made sustainable. And that's why you'll notice the third eye up above on this particular card. This fire is not coming just from the person, but coming from their soul and coming from the eternal energy on the other side. That way their full force can always be present without it actually burning them. It's just them being their true expression of self. I see a lot of people wanting this format, especially social media influencers, because you want to be the best of the game, absolutely. But underneath it all, it has to be sustainable. And so when your fame is entirely based around the adoration, it falters. When instead you can make your glow about what is genuinely you, that's when you're going to come through the strongest. This is also more direct magic than what we would see with the Queen of Fire. Queen of Fire, the magic just swirls around her. It's intense and it's wonderful. The King of Fire, it's almost like a little laser light. Lightning could be another really good description of it. A quick, impactful flash of power, flame, heat, and illumination. On the plus side, you should be in for a really, really good summer, as long as you keep that radiance coming from your true form and not from something false. And on top of that, it lends to you to be the authority in your life and just be your true self. True, authentic self is becoming somewhat of a theme today, and so I'm going to double down on that for the next moon cycle. Being our truest self before getting into the summer months. T. Ashley, I've got you up next, then 4 new messages to check in on. Remember, all messages will be honored. T. Ashley. What do we got for T. Ashley? T. Ashley coming up with the 7 of Swords today. Seven of Air, sorry. Still swords because they keep using swords everywhere on this one, but that's just me digressing. Control of information is kind of a key element with swords, ideas, concepts, communication. The 7 often gets a bad rap in being a thief. There's other ways to approach it, being tactical, being skilled, being a proper focus of what you're doing. You'll notice book holding the knowledge, the necklace holding the weapon, the hand holding the representation. We have him making a trifecta of power here. He himself is well armored, the angel wings, it looks well equipped. It looks well dressed. It looks well functioned. What I take from this for you is to be very calculating, well functioned, and precise with your objectives and your goals. Play the tactical game. It's not playing the Monopoly game where you just buy everything and hope it works out. It's buying the properties you know people have to trade for and getting what you want because you make them pay twice the amount. It's about knowing that that person's going to do that particular set or skit or dance or routine, and you're going to do something that is both more difficult but more common. Why? Because it'll be familiar and better executed and you'll show them up. Recognizing the Sun Tzu Art of War. If the trees are not moving, the enemy is not approaching. Things like that. And it can work into you if you look back at it from a simple logic viewpoint. This isn't something that you want emotions to be running away on. This is something that you want to make more logically sound. Tactical, careful, calculated planning. Very precise, very deliberate, very specific, and tuned for the moment that you're in and not just for any moment at all. Have fun with that one. That could be a lot of fun this this spring, especially with all the changes and everything moving on. I'm going to scroll down a little bit, see what we got going on for new requests. Hi, Ayana. I am glad I am on now too. I really, really enjoy doing lives on TikTok. It has been far more entertaining here than elsewhere. Crispy, I've got your card request in. Saeed, absolutely. I'll get you in there as well. So I've got 2 requests that I'm currently sitting on. And let's start with Crispy. Crispy coming up with the four of air. That clock in the middle of this one always gets me because it's a 4 card and yet the clock's turned to 9. And I'm not sure if there's any representation from 9 o'clock that I have to specifically take from it, but I'm sure there's something hiding in there somewhere. What I do note with most 4 of Swords, it centers around rest, recovery, re-energizing oneself. I have a hard time seeing this as a re-energizing point, but there is this neat balance of colors and shapes as we look around it. So I take it to the point of balance. Balance of logic along with the wisdom garnered through personal emotions and experiences. We've done a thing, we've done the time, we've done the energy, and now we understand it both in our mind and in our 2 ears, in our logic and in our wisdom. Take a long look at the events and circumstances and what's flowing around you right now at this time. All the knowledge that you need for these moments, Crispy, is with you. You've already gone through this. You just may have to put the emotions a little bit in check on it and think about it logically and think about it rationally. Think about it from angles that don't make it about personal choice, but more about what is the better choice. And it can sometimes lead to more of a philosophical intuition or philosophical approach, allowing yourself to really puzzle out some of the bigger quandaries. Morality, mortality, all those other fancy M words, and other things that may challenge a normal person on a given day. The freedom in this is in that you don't have to do more time of investigation or experiencing or encountering. You have the experience and the knowledge that you need right now. You are already prepared for this. You're already equipped for this. So do not hold back. This is your time to act fully and wholly in your knowledge so that you get the best outcome for yourself. Have fun with that one, Crispy. Saeed, I've got you coming up next. Saeed, what do we got for Saeed? Saeed coming up with, no worries, Crispy. Saeed with the healing card. Major Arcana number 11 in this one. What is it to heal? To heal, to be healed, to be a healer? What really is the function there? And that's, a lot of people get to this idea that healing is about taking you back to how you were. A reset, if we want to call it that. And I totally understand that logic because we think of it like a cut. I get a cut, the scab grows over it, it heals underneath, and then the scab falls off and I'm now healed. But healing of the soul and healing of the mind is not quite the same as the skin. And so healing has to be done at the level that it's needed, to the language, to the focus, to the effort that it has to be met at. If I go and try to heal a Christian with a Wiccan prayer, it may be the right intention, but it's the wrong language. If I go and try to pop somebody's shoulder back into the socket and it's actually a break and not a separated shoulder or pop shoulder, I'm going to do more harm. And so there has to be careful study, inquiry, observation, triage, essentially, to know what needs to be done here. Triage what you're healing with. Triage what you're working with. Is this genuinely the right focus and the right format? Especially in relationships, sometimes you can't heal your partner. I've had it said before that you should never try to heal your partner, and I disagree. I disagree. You are surrounded by your partner 24/7 if you are living together and everything else. And so you're going to influence your partner regardless how you try not to. being aware of how you're having that effect is key element here. Actually having that full understanding of how you're influencing and how you're changing them and how you're adapting them. If it doesn't work, you don't force the method. And so if it's not working with this X, you can't force it back into order. You can't force it back into flow. But you could find someone that could work better with your flow and with your nature. So I would say take the time, do the healing, do the recovery, and then decide where you want to see yourself flitter onto next. Because, meaning no offense, my gut tells me it's not going to be the same place. My gut tells me it's going to be somewhere new, somewhere different, somewhere else. Make your way that way. See what you can do with it. So I've worked through the list. If you guys want to do a quick share bit, then we'll see if we can draw in a few more here. I'm going to reorientate this too, because I just want it a little more snazzier. One of these days, I might even be able to afford a whole proper setup. Which, if you want to help me get there, I do private bookings as well. So feel free to hit me up anytime. So we're open right now. Oh, Hasna, hi, can I have a short love reading? Will I be in a good relationship with him someday? Let's take a look into that for you. Absolutely, Hasna. And if you're just joining us, throw in a request. I will get to your cards shortly. I do honor all requests that come in. Any requests that come in will get a card drawn. Hasna, what do we got for you? I'm going to say that there is definitely a potential here. It's interesting because when I work with card readings, I do a combination of intuitive and pattern reading. The pattern reading on this one tells me that they're already connected with you, that you're already supposed to be there or at that level, and so that's a little bit tricky. And when you look at the question of will I be in a good relationship with him someday? If the relationship is already established, but it's just not healthy, prosperous, or growing the way that you want it to, then we're going to have a long conversation at the end of this chat just about how to deal with poorly developing connections. Flowing with people, making that family bond, making relationships work. It is a flow of give and take from each other's cups, from each other's efforts, and from each other's actions. When we find the one that we feel most balances us out, quite often it is a rush within the very heart of our soul, because we feel all the blue has been finally cast into light, and it can glow, and it can change, and it can shift. But it's got to go through the tumultuous times to actually shift properly. And like the steady sea turtle, you have to be willing to endure that experience and not get dragged underneath by it. Therein lies the trick. Every time I look at this card and your energy, I get this weird vibe that you're getting dragged under. You're getting pulled on really, really heavily and not sure how to keep the intensity going as you were, have been, or want to. This is inevitable in a lot of relationships. There's periods of good, there's periods of bad. Everything goes through ups and downs. That's normal. The trick is being able to discuss it and arrange a plan around it. If you can trigger conversation with this person and get to the depths of what's really going on and talk about the emotions and the feelings, you're in the right waters, you're going to be okay. But if they're not willing to talk about the feelings, then you have to leave. Your feelings need to be respected. And if they're not willing to do that extra work and balance in and respect your feelings and your emotions, then it will never be a good relationship. Hi, Jacqueline. If you want a card, just give me permission. The dark side to that, Hasna, if you are devoted to a person that is not interested in changing themselves and improving themselves, Hasna, then you have to let it go. You can't force yourself to be with somebody that's not meeting you at your level and instead trying to change you and force you into what they want. There is no respect to be given there. And that is a toxic bubble. That is a toxic relationship. I feel the relationship and connection is there. Is it healthy though? And if it's not genuinely healthy, don't keep forcing on it. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining. I've got 3 requests now: Jacqueline, Jasmine, and Sabrina. All 3 of you will get a card. If you can hang around for it, great. If you can't, I'll have it up on YouTube a little bit later on here. Let's get started. Jocelyn? I keep putting a Q or a K in there. It's Jocelyn, isn't it? Either way, let's get that focused and a card for them. 8 of Wands coming up for you, or 8 of Fire. Rapid growth, change, transformation. Heavy on the transformation with this one. I really like the way this card glows. And it gives this strong flavor of seeing yourself taking flight and moving on to next evolution and next form. When we're dealing with most of the elements, that's a lot of fun. When we're dealing with it with fire element, it's a rush, an adrenaline rush, a confidence rush, a glamour rush. It sometimes feels like you're being adored, like in puberty days again, and there's that attention that comes with it that just makes everything red glow. Some of us, it was very comfortable, some of us, not so much. And so if you're in your element with this, Jocelyn, then fantastic. Allow yourself to play with it, engage it, have some fun. Go do you, girl. Enjoy yourself. But if this is a new level of confidence that you would be exploring, well, that's tricky then. How does an amateur get up on a burlesque show and do the performance of their life, right? So confidence has to be a steady burn. If you throw all the fuel for confidence on the fire at once, it usually just gives you a nice big flare up and then nothing else. Confidence also has to come from failure, because if you fail and then try again and succeed, you are more confident than if you never failed at all. I'll say that again. If you fail, then try again and succeed, you will be more confident than if you had never failed at all. You have to throw yourself in there. You have to challenge yourself that way, and you have to let yourself become your greatest, brightest, most passionate level of glow. Doing so, it's literally just you liberating your own soul, freeing yourself to be the new superpower you. Have fun with that one. Got a few new requests coming in. I would... I try, Hans. I try. Malkali, or Elizabeth, sorry, I'll get you on there for sure. I really wish they weren't doing the lawn right now, but we'll figure it out. Also, I will post this. Actually, it's only the middle of May. Why are you guys doing it right now? Let me go close that door. I'll be right back. If you don't know why I'm upset about mowing the lawn this early in May, it is specifically because they are killing little bugs that haven't had a chance to get out yet. I don't like that, but whatever. That's why I'm going to buy my own property. Then I can help all the bugs I want. Where were we? Jackson, we just did. Jasmine, Sabrina, Elizabeth. I've got you 3 on the list here. Let's get going. Now that I don't have the lawnmower going painfully in my ear. Jasmine gives permission. What do we got for a card for Jasmine today? Jasmine coming up with the 3 of Fire. 3 of Fire, 3 of Wands centers around long journey, long growth, long travel, long exploration. I really like their setup with this card, because you've got this fantastic dynamic of the hobo bag. I hate calling it the hobo bag, but that's all I know it as. It's slung over the shoulder, showing that this person really is taking everything that they are on the journey. That's awesome, Jasmine. That's incredible. That means that you're stepping up to a new, incredible, powerful level. That means you are evolving to your next greater form, and that is wonderful. Usually these journeys suck. They usually require letting go of friendships. They require letting go of long friends, family, places that we're familiar with, and the things that we were used to. Some of these sacrifices may actually work out to a better you overall. They may make you feel more like you're coming into your true form of self. Others, they're going to be things that you regret, and that's just the nature of journey. Sometimes we have to let go of things in order to grow. So don't be afraid of the losses that are going to come out of this, because what you get out of it is greater than that loss. All in all, keep moving forward on your journey. Keep getting healthier, keep getting stronger, keep getting fuller, keep exploring. And as long as you maintain that curious power underneath it all, you manifest to the greatest form of what you could be. Curiosity is one of the superpowers of the human species because it allows us to see even greater and more powerful forms overall. Allow your curiosity to guide you and form you. I've got Sabrina next, and then Elizabeth, you're up after that. Let's get going. Sabrina. I'm seeing something new on my live that I've never seen before, and I'm not 100% sure what it is, but we'll work with it. This is how I learn, by doing things. I'd much rather pee on the electric fence than not, because then I know exactly what's going to happen. And that's just my lifestyle. So 3 of Wands. Yeah, I dig that card. I love that card. Sabrina's card, please. Sabrina. Sabrina coming up with the intuition card. I've been trying to dodge the teenage witch jokes up until now, but like honestly, a lot of us read the comics, a lot of us grew up with the TV show, and then you get that magic nature with the name automatically, right? People are just used to that energy flow. How do you work with your own energy though? How do you understand who you are away from the physical truths? We like the physical truths because it can be shared amongst people. And if multiple observers can see the same thing, we know it is truth. Intuition, though, often doesn't have multiple observers, not unless you got a really good coven. And so what you're dealing with there is your own observation and your own experiences. However, you yourself can be multiple perspectives at one time. The same spider web can be looked at as an artist, or as a philosopher, or as an entomologist, or maybe as a diviner looking for patterns. Those divining different ways can be different languages of their own. Runes are different than tarot. Oracle is different than I Ching. There are so many different varieties to it. So learning to trust your own intuition and work with your own energy form is at the core here, Sabrina. Learning to be truly and utterly confident in your own nature of understanding so that you can draw all the things towards yourself appropriately. The gift is there with you, and you just have to trust in it 100%. Allow yourself to trust that your intuition is guiding you appropriately and develop it properly. Development is usually meditation, reading studies, or other formats. Shoot me a message if you ever want to discuss it at length, because I do teach tarot and crap like that. But at the core of it, as long as you were doing something to refine your understanding, you will grow into some great and some amazing things. Good luck, Sabrina. Elizabeth, I've got you up next. And I've got 9 new messages. Let me just take a quick peek here. Hi, Danique. I've got you on the list now as well. Cool. I think we're set. So we've got Elizabeth and Danique. Hi, Elizabeth. Card for Elizabeth, please. A card for Elizabeth. Elizabeth coming up with beep, beep, beep. 5 of Wands coming up here, or the 5 of Fire. Typically, the 5 of Wands is more about competition to improve yourself with, friendly sparring, friendly matches. You're not there because you need to win the tournament. You're there because you just want to enjoy playing. With this deck, though, they take on a slightly more confrontational approach. And I'm getting more and more, as I work with it, a vibe of same team, different goals. Somebody that you would expect to be on your side, on your team, in your company. Somebody that you either consider a friend or a colleague. And now they're doing something that stands apart from the normal behavior and makes you feel like confrontation and struggle is growing in between the two of you. There's conflicts there that need to be addressed. But why? And that is my undertone with all of it. Why are we here at this conflict? If they are misinterpreting something that has happened on in the past, this is your last chance to somewhat rectify it before it gets any worse on top of you. Better yet, if they've just misunderstood and thought that you wanted this push, this is the time to pump the brakes and save the friendship. But if the conflict is not directly acknowledged and treated, then there is going to be a further fallout down the road. It doesn't have to be challenged confrontationally, but it does need to be checked logically, checked rationally. Passions are very intense with this card. Desires and wants and goals are the undertone with fire energy. And so the passion for victory here is really, really hot. Make sure you're not letting somebody use that passion against you. And better yet, make sure that you're not letting anybody violate your potential with their goals, their dreams, and their intention to run you over. Good luck on that one, Elizabeth. I feel it's going to be something that plays out over the next 2 weeks. Full moon's coming in about 2 weeks here. Keep a close eye on it, what's going on in and around there. Good luck. Danik, does Kay like me more than friends? He said not because he isn't aromantic. Okay. Aromantic people are an interesting kind of flavor. I met a fellow named Marty way back in the day, and Marty has no biological sexual tendencies, and doesn't really respond to concepts of emotional affection. He does have compassion, he does have friendliness, but the idea of intimacy is just very foreign to him. And so aromantics on that extreme are what I generally expect. Sometimes I find it's leaning in other directions. So let's get a sense here. K towards Danique. Okay, he needs to really, really flesh this out. And age is relevant. Age is relevant. The thought is not fully compressed or worked out, and it needs to be analyzed carefully so this person knows exactly what they're feeling. Relationships are such a complex factor. I really, really love it when I have to dig in on them. Because ultimately, Danique, the thought of love is there, but what is love? And if you feel like busting out with a baby, don't hurt me no more, you're exactly in the right vein. That is the core principle of love. Suffering pain for somebody because you want to see them through that pain. You suffer so that they can become fuller, they can become better. Other people see love more as just the chemistry of it. I feel something based on my interactions, or the sexual nature of it. Well, you're hot, so I love you because I want to get in you. Or the predator aspect of it. I love you because you're my food. You are what I eat to survive, and so I'm going to eat you. Those are forms of love as well too. When we know exactly what kind of love we're working with, we get to a true honesty with those around us and with ourselves. One of the first concepts that people are kind of working with right now is just monogamous or polyamorous. Monogamous, I want to marry one person, I want to be with one person, I want to focus all my energy in one area and build a family with it. And I get it. Polyamorous, I get it too. I love freely because I have a lot of love and I feel connected automatically with these people, and I don't want to deny my love for these people. Once you know the bigger picture though, you then start getting very particular on the details, the expectations, all the ins and outs that really make the relationship happen to something more. I think that there is a thought towards it, but what is love? I don't think it's what you think it is for him, and it's definitely not what he thinks it is for you. And you're going to have to really kind of work your mind around that and realize the perspective of love is it's a very malleable thing. It's very bendable. It's very manipulatable. It's not firm and solid. A firm and solid thing is something like gravity. Gravity pulls. Haven't seen gravity push yet, but I've seen a lot of gravity pull. Love hurts. Simple truths. Understand if it's the kind of love that you will accept hurting for or not. That is the key here. Dolly. Hi, Dolly. Welcome to the show. I hope you're still in here. If anybody else wants to throw in, I've just got Dolly on the list right now. And so more than happy to get some more names on the list. Keep this going for at least another hour, maybe. I do have somebody coming home that I might have to let into the building, but we'll deal with that when we get there. I'm not panicked. Let's draw a card for Dolly. If you can't stick around for your card, also, you can catch it on YouTube later on. Links I'll start posting up into the main TikTok profile. Hi, Moon. Do you want a card, Moon? Just give me permission in the chat box. Um, this isn't easy enough for me. I need a confirmer. Yeah, it might be. Um, so the top card came out Desire. The confirmer is the air card here, the Scribe. How do I go about this one? Dolly, the desire for a relationship, the desire for something from somebody more specifically. There is something that you both want from each other, but something else interferes, blocks, or makes it difficult to just sit in with that want. It's like wanting to spend time with somebody, but they will only spend time in the buff. And so because they're nudists, they're always naked. If you want to spend time with them, you got to be able to deal with their nakedness. And if you can't deal with their nakedness, then that's your problem. Their nature is to be naked. You might love the way that they talk, you might love the way that they engage, you might love the way that they work in their life, but because of that one thing, there's something preventing it from being a fuller picture. Really get down to the narrows of it. And if that block is indeed something that prevents you from being happy forever in that connection, then don't waste your time and don't waste your flow. But if you can find your way over it, then that's the communication point. That's where you start to build on honesty and communication and flow with the other person so that the desires can be met, even though the personalities may conflict. You'd be surprised how often opposites can make it work out, but they have to have the respect and they have to have the communication. If the respect and the communication aren't there, they can't balance out. How can you ever work with something that won't listen to you while you're trying to work with it? So the desire's there, but there's something that's working hard against you guys. Fate is coming in asking, will you get the job this month? Let's take a look, see. And if you want to get a card request in, now is definitely the time. Drawing a next card for Fate. Fate? I have a horrible, horrible language problem. I can only speak English and bad English. Definitely sets me back in a few spots. Fate, you're coming up with the Ace of Earth. Love this dragon. This is a really happy looking dragon. And the seed flower thing that it's got kind of working with, it's really, really pretty. Really, really good planting. If I was to take this as a straight yes or no, I would probably say yes. That you are looking at a job or some amount of change in money, income, and those other assets coming your way. So straight answer, yes. Specifically, it's what you've put the work into planting. It's what you've put the work into grooming. You've taken the control and made it happen. And so well done. Kudos to you. If you had not put in that effort, if you'd not put in that focus, there would have been no progress. There would have been no growth. So well done. However, once something is planted, it has to be cared for. It has to be nurtured. It has to be helped to grow into new forms and new possibilities. And so the job itself is just the first step. There is more that's yet to come for you, and you're going to do what you can, where you can, to make sure that you're working for it at all times. Good things ahead for you. Honestly, if you're talking about career, money, or physical health, the Ace of Stone or Ace of Pentacles is typically one of your best symbols to get. Absolutely. Because then you've got an energy form that's displaying good foundation, good stability. Really good energy form there. So, if somebody else does want to pop in for another card, now is definitely the time to put up a request. I do have got a meeting this afternoon and some running around to do, but I might have half an hour, I might have an hour, or if nothing does creep up, I might just start going into some of my random nonsense, because I really do like just talking random nonsense. What can I say? If nothing else, it could be entertaining, sometimes educational. The key point of it all, though, is to, where possible, normalize the idea of spirituality. Spirituality is a little different from religion, whereas religion is telling us how we want people to kind of work together as a community. Spirituality is more, how do you see yourself as part of the universe? And Challenge Kid, will I start, study, or start any business? Let's take a look. See, study or business? Hi, Jenny from the block. Want a card? And challenge. Go. I would define this. Hi, Jenny. I'm doing card readings. If you want to get on next, now is definitely the time. Uh, Ancha. When I see the Queen of Fire, I think self-employed. I think someone doing their thing, their way, their style, their format. But it's tricky because it's right down the middle of your study or business thought, right? She is fierce. She is powerful. She's in control. She does her own thing her own way, and that's why we love the Queen of Fire. And so when we take it as a symbol of working style, that it can only work for themselves as a contractor or as an independent business operator. However, the skill set is usually already there. So if you have the studies already to do the business, or if you have the skill set to do the business, absolutely I would engage with it. Use your magic. Use your magic as it is, as however you've got it, and engage with new great things. If you do not yet, however, have the skill set, you need to do that first. And I would say make sure it's something that is natural to you, natural to your form, and natural to your evolution. A skill set that is similar to you and not different from you. I'm a healer person. I do really, really good in medical systems. I've done collections though before, and I'll tell you right now, as a healer, collections will absolutely kill you. So you got to kind of pick your battles and pick your flows and go where you're going to be the healthiest and the best. If you've already got a skill set, start the business. If you don't yet have a refined talent that you can use, you got to do that first. But do your power. Don't go somewhere that you don't belong. Don't go somewhere that you don't want to be. Don't go somewhere that you shouldn't be. Don't be doing somebody else's dream. That's another major aspect with this one. They don't do somebody else's dream. They don't do somebody else's goal. Amway International is a very neat business opportunity, but you're always building your uplinks network first. You're never building your own first. And so it's somebody else's dream. And recognizing when you are living somebody else's dream is key. That's when you can start to get away from the users, abusers, and otherwise controllers. Thanks for asking the question. Anybody else want a card? I do have an open table right now. I will probably have to run down and let somebody in the building in a few minutes here, but you guys generally got my attention for at least another 10 minutes. Happy to help. Anything, anytime. Rosie, general reading. Let's see what we got there for Rosie. Hi, Rosie. Rosie. This is my favorite card. It's one of the cards that bugs everybody because it's death. Death and rebirth, specifically. I come at this from three directions. One, death should never be seen as a final thing. Death, 6 feet under is definitely a heavy thing. It's definitely a painful thing, but it's a transformative thing. Death of jobs, relationships, families, businesses, ventures, those are a little bit more complex because we're not seeing something taken away from us. We're seeing something departing us. We're seeing something evolving and going somewhere that we can no longer go. This happens for a number of reasons. Sometimes we've outgrown those places and they just no longer serve us. Lots of people think really fondly of their high school days, but if their high school self ever met their adult self, I guarantee you they'd be getting bullied by themselves. Just half the irony of it. But it's a changed you. It's a new you. And by allowing that rebirth process, you've gotten so much more ahead in your life for it. Allowing that process to flow through is literally just learning to accommodate time in life. The changes are happening, but trust that good things are coming through as a result of them. You can't hold on to what was. You have to allow what is to be. And that's just part of the cycle that is the life and birth and change. And how each of us come to this piece varies. I know a few people that are very quick with the it was, it is, and it's over with, and I don't care now. I don't know where they get that ability to separate events from what's going on around them, but it's superpower. It's magical. I'm a seasoned kind of person. I recognize that some people are just around for a moment. Some people are around for a season. Some people rarely are around for a lifetime. And so I expect lots of people for moments. If they last for a season, I'm very happy. And if they don't, I don't care. If they manage to show up for an entire lifetime, I feel bad for them. But we'll worry about that when I get to the deathbed. Trusting the process is a really, really good way to look at it. Allowing things to just simply be in their place, allowing things to simply go through their flow. They've tailored this one a little bit in chariot energy, without really calling it the chariot. And that's kind of what I like about it. You can use it to overcome the obstacles and difficulties that we face in life because you now understand it's just process of life. The ultimate thing that we lose when we start to understand that is our own sense of mortality. Our own self-importance might be a bad way to phrase it, but it kind of was what it is. We get to a level where we realize that life continues after us and events continue without us. And by allowing them to continue their process and their flow, it evolves the world into a better thing, and we got to contribute to it. So surrender and accepting the process is key here. Engaging it so that you can be given something new too, and not just have everything robbed and stolen and taken away from you. Slow and careful process. I obsessed a little bit much over the Death Tarot card, and that honestly is my favorite one because it's quite literally, it's not Death 6 feet under, it's cocoon. Cocoon bursts open and out comes butterfly. It's a whole new life. This is not quite to that stage yet. This is not so much the cocoon as it is the whole process itself. So it's that broader view. With broader view comes sometimes better understanding. With better understanding, the ability to respond with self-control. And trust yourself to be in a position that you'll be able to survive it. Susanna asking about Eli. Let's take a look-see. Elizabeth Windsor, I'll get you a card. We got 2 on that. Susanna first. What do we got for Susanna? I had this card come up earlier, and I mentioned that it looked like the cup wasn't being reached for, the cup wasn't being touched, the cup wasn't being accessed yet. And so I am sticking with that on the second read-through. The cup is not yet being accessed. There's passions and there's feelings and there's desires as indicated by it being a fire card, but they're not actually taking the step to reach out to the cup and engage with the energies directly. I will also point out the snake on the hand. Is that a snake of communication or is that a snake of poison? And we don't really know, unfortunately, but we can assume based on the behaviors that it's probably a silver tongue or conversationalist snake. But be certain. Make sure that this is an energy that you actually want to engage with. Make sure it's a flow that you actually want to get behind. If the snake is trying to warn you that you're dealing with a poisonous character, that could be a really, really bad thing kind of diving in on. So mind your energy. Take a look and see what's really being offered, what's really being drunk from, and engage with it cautiously. Good luck, Susanna. Elizabeth Windsor, let's get you a card. One for Elizabeth. Nitin. Hi, Nitin. I'll get you one. Elizabeth Windsor. Elizabeth Windsor coming up with the 4 of Earth. This one, I like the way that they phrase it as holding up the pillar. The 4 of Pentacles is not quite so friendly in its translation. It's about manipulation and control. This takes it instead in a direction of holding up stable things and keeping foundation lifted. And so it takes away from being a manipulator and puts into being an integral piece. There's things that you are supporting and maintaining and encouraging, and you are the main thing that is keeping them supported and encouraged. But remember, all this effort here is creating pain and wounds in other places. At some point here, you are going to have to decide if you are pouring in more of yourself than you are seeing out of it as a result. Sometimes people are in positions where they just have to be constantly drawn upon, constantly taken from, as part of a lesson, duty, or assignment. But these are few and far between. They really, really are. And so if your situation is just leaving you trapped to pain, and you are supporting the cycle of pain that's hurting you, it becomes a little bit self-defeating. So make sure that what you are supporting are things that you truly value, treasure, and appreciate. Don't just give your energy to everything because it's really good energy. Let's be honest here. Give your energy to those things that you want to see expand to a higher level and grow to a greater potential. That way, you're then putting your energy to what you believe in. You see more of what you believe in the world around you, and that comes back around to support you in other ways. Sort of that be the change you want to see in the world, and absolutely. But make sure that no one is taking advantage of that change, no one is taking advantage of that effort, that no one is using you to build themselves up so that they can survive something that they wouldn't be able to survive without you. It comes back to making sure that you're getting what you do. You are owed for what work you do. You are owed for what efforts you put in. You are consistent in what you're providing. That consistency should be acknowledged, remembered, and rewarded as much as possible. Good luck on that one, Elizabeth. Nitin name. Hi, Nitin. Let's tell you about you. I can definitely get you a card here as well. No worries, Elizabeth. Nitin, what do we got for Nitin? Nitin coming up with the Counselor. Coming from the water energy, the Counselor centers in around care, service, and sort of making sure that we're taking care of things in the appropriate way. Counselor is also a tricky position because at the end of the day, you can't be counseling people based upon what you believe to be right and true. Then you're an advisor, not a counselor. Counselor instead has to be, this is what you've given to me as a concept. This is what I think options exist around you. Which option do you want to explore? Your client informs you, and then you carry them on sort of down that road. And it comes with a slight flavor of healer. It comes with a slight flavor of friend. But if too personal, it becomes very difficult to do your job objectively. And that's the walking line that all therapists, healers, and counselors have to consider. Yes, I can give you ideas, I can give you direction, I can give you an improvement on your quality. However, will you see it as quality, or is it only quality because I believe it is? If you can maintain that impartiality, then the advice and counsel will come through easily and you'll be offering a lot of good to the world around you. If somebody else is trying to give you counsel and you're finding that it's becoming more about what they believe to be a value or virtue and less about helping you to come to understand that, be careful. And always make sure that you're seeking and giving counsel where appropriate. I take a lot of liberty, kind of the fun of being a reader, but there's also fine lines that we have to dance upon. And so all readers should not be telling you how to live your life. There has to be respect of free will. No reader should be charging you $500 for 15 minutes. It's not fucking worth it, guys. There's no reader that is that good. And so you have to also be able to discern what is the spirit of the person that you're talking to. Good luck with that one. And it's counselors, when they're healthy, are amazing. When they're toxic, there is so much pain. So make sure that you know which energy you're working with, what their intentions really are, and are they doing it with quality? Ayana and Mpuni, I will get you both cards here. Let's start with Ayana. Ayana coming up with the Seven of Cups. I like the flow of this one. The Seven of Cups is normally a little bit of a darker one about illusions, deceptions, lies, cheating, all that kind of fun stuff. With this deck, they don't really have, like, there's the illusion element. This girl is not a fish, and yet she's in the motions of fish and trying to be a fish, but she's not a fish. So there is a little bit of a hint of that illusion to a certain degree, needing to make sure that we're seeing clearly what's really going on. Now, seeing clearly requires having open eyes. You will notice, though, that the girl's eyes are closed while the third eye is open. What she visually, physically sees, she does not trust, but she does trust her intuition. And that's what's guiding her to swim this way with the fishies. Sometimes what we see on the surface, what we see at first glance, is not truly applicable to the greater picture. But once we stop and look at it with all of our heart and soul and mind, we start to get a better understanding and an ability to flow with it in the unseen way. not the what's presented to us way. There's people swimming around you. Some of them are worth your time, some of them are not. Get a good sense of where they're really swimming to. If you find that your fish school is splitting off into two separate directions, you will want to pick one that you trust to take you where you belong. And you're going to want to be really honest with yourself as to what you want to deliver to them too. Making sure that you're cautious, careful, and trusting your gut instincts, kind of being the ground vibrations that I get on this one. Lots in the cups cards on this one of blue energies and blue form. This one's counteracted with the heart shells on the arm, or the heart on the sleeve potentially. Make sure that you're not letting your emotions be put too far out there to be played and manipulated either. Yes, it's good to feel our emotions. Yes, it's good to acknowledge our emotions and respect them. But if we are allowing them too much and people are taking advantage of them, that's when we need to start restricting who gets to share with them. Good luck, Guyana. Mpumi, we've got you up next. I'm always really careful not to go with the cliches. Like Seven of Cups cliche is he cheating, you need to get moving on to the next great man. And that's the cliche. I don't buy it 100%. Not always. It's about looking deeper. It's about understanding the mechanisms behind what's on the surface. Trust your instincts. Hi, Callie Dally. If you'd like a card reading, I just need permission, and then I can get you added onto the list. I've just got one person ahead of you right now. Mpumi? What do we got for Mpumi? Mpumi gets number 0. In this deck, they call it choice. Imagine if we did have a choice. This door, that door, any door that we wanted to go anywhere that we could. And perfect idealization like that can be a fun venture. We start to realize what goals and dreams actually matter to us when we start to do that. We start to think 5-year plans and so on, and realize that, well, it's all good and fine to have, lots of cars and whatnot, but if I don't have a garage, I got nowhere to put those cars. Our choices start to line up towards goals and dreams, and we start to get a sense of course based upon the long-term picture. But where do you start? And that's always the trap. If you're given too many options, it can be really, really hard to see where those options go to in the long run. And while we might have the 5-year plan, we might not know what necessarily every single step is supposed to be. And so key here is to take the time to feel it through and really pick what's for you. Not based on somebody else's recommendation, not based on somebody else's advice, but any choice for you. To simply make a choice is to activate energy and move yourself through. And as long as you allow yourself that freedom to make choices, you could be farther ahead by tomorrow even. But you have to allow yourself that choice. You can't get paralyzed with the number of options out there and shut yourself down instead. There has to be a decision made. You have to initiate the journey. And until you initiate, you're always stuck at 0. Trigger the choice, whatever way that you can, and make the choice about what you believe you want to experience in the future. Callie Dally, that works. I will draw you a card, and Mika got you on there as well for a card. Callie Dally, what do we got for Callie Dally? Callie Dally coming up with the 3 of Cups, this one being a little bit more lighthearted. It centers around enjoying company, enjoying space, enjoying the satisfaction of doing things with people of different stripes. You'll notice that there's, on the one hand, you got the human, the other hand, you've got 2 fish of one type, and then a 3rd fish that looks a little bit differently. I really love the different elements of different backgrounds coming together with new insights, new awareness, new understanding, and new growth. The ability to share of their different orders and provide something to this collective. Sometimes it's simply the satisfaction of time shared, being with or in the company of others that you appreciate and like being around. Other times it's more about having people that have direct influence on events or activities in your life. Or your relationship with us, potentially. I could see that being a thing here too. And realizing how the energy relates and works through and works in and out, the core of it, at the core of it, it comes from different perspectives to see celebration grow through you. So it's good vibes, it's good flows, it's good energies. Relationships with this Three of Cups are usually more, they're not as deep, intimate, personal as family rearing and things like that. They're usually more related towards the dynamics of good working order, good communication, good understanding, safe space. But without safe space, no relationship should advance to a higher level anyway. So if there is that goal and dream for the future for you, then that's great. Absolutely live and work towards it. But don't let it be the consuming factor as to why you're spending time and putting energy into each other. We shouldn't just hang out with people because we want something out of it. We should hang out with people because we enjoy their influence on our lives. But that's it's tricky throughout time and throughout space. Mika, I've got you coming up next, and Attica, I can absolutely get a card for you as well. Mika, what do we got for Mika? Mika's card coming up with the Three of Earth. From one three to the other three. I always love the exchange. There's two ways I usually go with this one. One is back to basics. One is back to the work that you feel most personally satisfying. Um, the basic side of it is not so much about people of your complexity, but spaces and environments of your natural order. Now, if you're a wilds person and you like being outdoors, and that's camping, that's fishing, that's going on hikes, that's going on bike rides and all those other fun bits. If you're more the socialite type, then that's the certain restaurants, cafes, dress shops and things of that bit. We each have a different style and a different format of who we are. And when we can engage in environments that are akin to that format, we get healthier for it simply because we are in a place that is meant for us. Picking which place is right, though, is a little bit of a puzzle at times, and that's why we have to go through probably about 30 years of growth and development before we can pick right. Because we're always trying to find what fits and satisfies until we finally do. Then we can work on building it up, improving it, and making it better. If less so about the social circle and personal well being, and more just about the work dynamics, it gets down to quite literally planting new seeds and new developments, making sure that we've got something growing long term harmoniously. It's a customer comes in and you get them to fill out an application for a survey, sorry, not a survey, a prize box. And on there, you ask for an email address and permission to send them a survey. And so the one tails into the gift for them, which brings you back information about the customer as well as information what they're looking for. Process, order, and everyone kind of doing their little bit in it. And wherever you can apply that, it's simply getting down to the roots, the planting of the seeds, the foundational pieces to establish properly. It's good blessings, but it is sometimes tedious work because it means getting right down to the nitty gritty, getting the fingernails a little bit dirty, some might say. But as long as you're willing to do so honestly and genuinely, your crops, your results, your outcome on the far side are usually way better. So moving in the right direction, I would say. And just make sure, Mika, that you're feeding a future that you want to see yourself in, and not just some random future for somebody else. Attica, let's get you up next, and then we'll see if anything else pops in during that one. No worries. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, give it a share. Come to see me next Thursday as well too. And we will be putting recordings up on YouTube on our little channel there to make sure you guys can always check back on it at any time. Do private bookings as well too. Just shoot me a message and I'll let you know where to reach out. Or find me on Facebook at Lopik Magic House. I'd be happy to make arrangements on there to do a private session with you anytime. Attica, card for Attica. Coming up with the Hero, number 12 out of the Fire Energies. Doing what's right, not because there's any reason but to do what is right. Getting yourself moving forward as fiercely and prominently as possibly can. Torchbearer might be a good metaphor if you're not watching a lot of Klingons in Discovery right now. But realizing yourself, bringing the light of direction, the light of truth, the light of possibility, the fire that illuminates change. We'll notice also too, the bear energy comes in with that formidable nature of defense, confidence, being able to maintain strong posture. It's a balance of being your full true self and not compromising who you are for anybody else, along with the ability to strike to what needs to be done. The hero does not ignore the person lying in the ditch. I mean, no offense, but they get out there and they get messy with it. Or when something is said that they know is untruthful, they are going to speak the truth against it. When someone is doing something they know is hateful, they're going to work out against it. And down to the nitty-gritty, the hero is always going to do what they believe to be appropriate, morally, ethically, and contributing to the betterment of the world around them. It's about reinforcing that you're doing this for the right reasons, right direction, right course. If somebody that you're looking for or seeking for, my one caution on that is remembering that the hero is never for the maiden. The hero is for the world. The maiden's just unfortunate enough to get stuck on the path for a while. And so make sure that you are, if that's the case, make sure you're seeking the energy for the appropriate reason. I think everyone should truly embody the hero for themselves, though. We all needed to be rescued at one point or another, and 9 times out of 10, most of us did not get that rescue. So you will start to develop the hero within your own imagination anyway. And the more that we can start to formulate that design of a better person, the more that we can start to develop a role model that we could then shape ourselves after and work ourselves into becoming as we grow older. So find the power of heroism within you. Find where you see the truth needed and act towards that truth, and never let yourself compromise based on somebody else's morals, ethics, or values. Cool. And I think that might end up being all of it today. If you didn't catch me today, then by all means, hit me up for next Thursday. Next Thursday, right around the same time, same place, we'll absolutely be doing more card draws to see what comes your guys' way. The recording will be up on YouTube in a couple hours. That's should be Lopik MH. And then on Facebook, you can track us down at Lopik Magic House or Lopik MH again. It is always a treat to service. Wherever you guys go, wherever you are, stay safe, stay well, and goodbye for now.